Kamala Harris, was she the best candidate for the Democratic Party?
I think she was at the time.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do. Again, it goes back to the decision of the president. If the president made a different decision, now there's a primary. And if we have a primary, maybe Kamala Harris wins the primary, but there's a race. She didn't have the opportunity of that race. I'm not blaming that for the reason why she lost. I've talked to her a couple of times since the election. This race was more about a movement in our country. Not a movement necessarily on Donald Trump. Just people are frustrated and they're looking for something different.
In her message and campaign, and again, we may agree to disagree. It was awful. You said you got to have big friends in big business that are donors and everything else. But she was like held captive as seen by the tech industry because of where she's from. How do we embrace someone that's so dug deep into tech when those are the people that are destroying jobs for us, creating the technology?
I don't know how deep she was in the tech.
Her financial brother, her brother-in-law is the general counsel of Uber.
But it's her brother-in-law.
Yeah, but it's Uber.
But it's still brother-in-law.
It's Uber though.
But it's still her brother-in-law.
But listen, I don't care. But I don't care if it's a brother-in-law. I got to worry about 1.3 million members.
I get it.
So, when people criticize you of your decision, you got a brother-in-law. That's great. Put him to work, whatever. But don't, say you're for working people when this guy is actively. You saw the fights with Uber and Lyft in the Senate and the House.
That's your job to organize Uber and Lyft.
You can't organize them. They're independent contractors.
Well, we tried to change the language and, we have to go state by state.
Their end game is to be autonomous. They don't want drivers.
They're heading that way.
Right, exactly.
Just more than them heading that way.
Right, no, there's 100%.
And that's an issue that's a different conversation we have to have. But I think with the vice president, she had to run. She was very respectful to the president, didn't criticize him, which makes it harder to be able to get your message out there.
You can't bash someone you ran with.
No, you can't. And it's kind of unfair. I mean, a lot of people dealt with that. George Bush had to deal with it when he
You blame the previous guy.
Yeah, but so I think for the
although you didn't do that when you ran for mayor.
I didn't bash anyone. You don't do that.
No, how could you?
But you shouldn't.
Right.
I mean, I didn't always agree with the mayor.
No, you stick to the issues.
But you don't bash him. I mean, there's no reason to bash him. He'd served 20 years. Whoever it is, bashing is something that the average person subconsciously is sick of.
But you look at the campaign, right? She was all, mainstream media. She didn't do a whole lot of media outreach. She didn't do a whole lot of outreach.
Which is a mistake.
Right, a huge mistake. And it gets back to my point, like, who is advising? I mean, if the Democratic Party is, very volatile as it is, who's advising?
She's another person that I always said to her, when she's not scripted, she's so much better. Like, when she's not scripted, she lets it loose. And you saw in the debate she did a great job in the debate. She wasn't scripted in the debate. You don't need to be scripted for everything you do. American people see through that.